I am so excited to share this video with you today because on my family's Instagram page, we often get the questions about how we transitioned our daughter into a floor bed. And so today is the day where I want to share our journey towards successfully incorporating a Montessori floor bed here in our home. Now, I do have a video that I recently uploaded on some of the benefits of the floor bed. And I also have a video that I uploaded about a year ago on just more benefits on the Montessori floor bed and some additional things that I think are going to really help you in the process of incorporating a Montessori floor bed at home. Okay, so let's get started with our journey. Now, from the very beginning, before my daughter was born, I knew that we wanted to incorporate the Montessori philosophy at home. And so we never used a crib. In our baby registry, our family was just shocked by the fact that we did not want a crib. We asked for a floor bed, which my mother-in-law got us. And that's the floor bed that we've been using since the day she was born, which is actually just a crib mattress. I'll have a link for that down below. But the reason why we decided to just completely skip the crib was because we knew that if our daughter got used to the crib, then we were going to have to transition her into a floor bed. And so we removed that transition completely out of the equation so that she just didn't know the difference. All she knows is a floor bed. And so from the very beginning, when she was about 2 or 3 months old, we started to place her on her floor bed or her crib mattress that's simply on the floor, just for about 2 or 3 minutes. We would place her there for a few minutes. Of course, my husband or I were always next to her. We would always lay down next to her to show her how it's done. And we would just take her and go about our day. And then in about an hour or two, or whenever we remembered, we would come back to the floor bed and just place her there so that she can get really comfortable with the environment and just used to being on her own little bed. We then eventually started to transition her into napping on her floor bed. And so basically what we would do, we would always use the same wording, simple wording, shall I say. And remember that everything that you do in the newborn stage, it is the foundation for the infant stage. Everything that you do in the infant stage is the foundation for the toddler years, and so on. Because what we're doing is we're giving them life skills. And so that's the way we went about naps. And we did this for a few months. We continued to just be very just really repeating this. It's time to sleep, and take her to her bed. So she started to correlate these simple words with sleep. So I highly encourage that you do that, whether it is nap or bedtime. Start to use language to help your child make the brain connections that it is time to sleep. It is time to rest. It is time to sleep. And of course, this vocabulary will expand as your child grows. But at the very beginning, this was just enough. And so we came to a point where my husband and I were actually not getting a whole lot of sleep. And I have to say that this was very challenging for me because I really enjoyed co-sleeping with my daughter. But at around the 6-7 month mark, we were just exhausted, and we knew that it was time to transition her into overnight sleep in her floor bed. She was already doing it for naps, so it wasn't this huge shock to her. And so we started to do the same thing. It is time to sleep. And what we would do is we would just sit by the door and we would allow her to walk to her bed. Now, if you have an infant or a young toddler, you know that they get in a stage where they want to do things on their own. They want to feel empowered. And so you taking your child to bed is basically telling them what to do. So try to change your mentality a little bit and give them the choice. Do you want me to walk you to your bed, or do you want to walk to your bed on your own? At this time, my daughter was mostly crawling. And so I would say, do you want me to take you to your bed, or do you want to crawl to your bed? And it was always the fact that she wanted to crawl to her bed. It was empowering for her to know that she chose it. It was her who made this decision, not mom or dad. And of course, we started to implement freedom within limits. We gave her two choices. Do you want mom or dad to carry you to bed, or do you want to crawl, eventually walk to your bed? And we still do it. Freedom within limits. The freedom for her to choose, but we set the limits. And so we started to introduce her to overnight sleep. And just like we did with our nap times, my husband or I, whoever was doing bedtime, would just lay next to her, and we still do this to this day, and she's 2.5. We lay next to her until she falls asleep. And let me tell you that 2.5 years in, we are getting much better sleep. She is at the point where she walks into the room, walks into her bed all by herself, and it takes her probably 5-7 minutes to fall asleep on her own. Now, it's important to also say that you must have a routine, a bedtime routine. So for us, we start with or a bath. She takes a bath, then we read a few books, and after her bath we use the environment to give her the cues that it's time to slow down. So we dim all of our lights, we turn off the big lights, we turn on a lamp in the living room, and we actually have these like yellow lights in our home on purpose so that it's not so bright in here when we start to transition. Recently, we started to allow her to turn on, I have this really bad head cold. We started to allow her to turn on the humidifier so that she is empowered in setting up her own environment. And so she turns on the humidifier, we read a few books, we dim the lights, and we have that routine going for us. She walks to her bed and she falls asleep all on her own. And as I mentioned before, this didn't happen overnight. We took the long route. Why? Because now it is paying off. She's 2.5 years, since she was about 2 years old, she's been doing it all on her own. And so yes, it felt like we put in a lot of work at the very beginning, but now it is paying off, completely paying off. This has also helped her transition into wearing no diaper overnight. And it has been, like I said, completely life-changing for our family. And so that is our Montessori floor bed experience in a nutshell. So if you have any questions, drop them down below so that I can answer them. And of course, follow my family's journey on Instagram, where I share a ton of resources and fun educational stories or videos, I guess, on how you can incorporate the Montessori philosophy at home. I have a blog post also on just more information on the floor bed and what mattresses and crib mattresses we recommend. I think that's it. Thank you all so much for hanging with me. I'm excited to share more videos like this one, so don't forget to subscribe and watch all of the other videos that I have here on YouTube, and also watch some of the videos my husband has made, because I love hearing his perspective as a Montessori father. Thank you all so much. As I mentioned, I have this horrible head cold, but nonetheless, thank you for being here, and I will see you soon. Adios.